Okay, so what should you know about going beltless before you go beltless? I'm bringing this up because it's crazy because stop training beltless or just working out beltless because not everyone trains for like powerlifting or bodybuilding. They just could do it for recreation or just for fun. It sounds so foreign saying it now and to most people, but I used to do it all the time. Like I didn't start using a belt like for 14 years I've been lifting weights. I didn't start lifting a belt until about 10 and a half years in. So it's been about 3.5 years I've been using about barely. I think even less than that, like 3.25. I don't know. Started using the belt like consistently 2019. I first bought one. It was a cheap Velcro one. That's how you know I wasn't a power lifter. This is a rule of thumb. Anyone with a Velcro belt is not a power lifter. And if they are, like, becoming one, they haven't competed yet because those aren't allowed. And it just screams the word noob, that's for sure. And that was me in terms of powerlifting. Fitness, not so much at all. 10 and a half years in, you should be pretty experienced. Most people, depending on how much research you do and not just like do the same thing for 10 and a half years. So I was learning a lot of different aspects of lifting, obviously jumping, plyometrics. I wanted to dunk, never did. Sprained my ankle 4 times in the process like an idiot. Well, it was more once, but 3 times playing basketball and once trying to dunk. But it was still 4 times spraining my ankle in general. Different types of learning, but that's not what I'm talking about. Learning like different aspects of fitness, but in terms of powerlifting, I started using a Velcro Nike one. It should be in the garage somewhere. It's actually pretty good, honestly. Like even like noob standards that I once was or today, like if I were to give someone that belt for free, I'm not even sure if I sold it. It's pretty good. Like that's not a good learning belt, but like a rogue belt would be better. Like something that you can't use in a meet or like a cheap lever belt from Amazon, that would be good. But I always did beltless for squat, bench, dead, everything. I didn't belt and knee sleeves didn't exist to me because I never went that heavy anyway. It was heavy, but like I wasn't big on progressively overloading so fast or every month, every week. So low bar I also didn't do. Like high bar was like 275 for a while for 5, and it was real easy. Like really greasing the groove or just doing more reps with that. I was scared to go higher. I was still like in that mindset. If you go heavy, you're gonna break your back, which I don't know if you'll break it, but you can hurt your back if you go too heavy, too fast with bad form. That's always what I say. When someone tells me that doesn't lift weights, they would know, right? They're the experts about lifting weights, squat, bench, squat, and deadlift specifically. Yeah, if you go too heavy, too fast, you can hurt your back because I have in the past. But I hurt my back or just hurt myself, period, 3 times in 14 years for those who say that. And they have no idea what they're talking about because they don't do it. So before you go back into beltless, because maybe you did beltless like me for a while and you're going back into it, or before you just started in general because you've never done it, things to know is the whole breaking your back thing I just mentioned. You're gonna feel like, oh, this is too heavy, it's gonna hurt my back, or I don't want it to hurt my back. Squat, bench, deadlift, if you might go too heavy too fast. So in order to prevent that, don't be like, man, I'm so stupid. I'm finishing up 531. It's the third block, so the third month would be one cycle. It's 90% of your max, and then 92% is month 2, and then month 3 is 95. And I wanted to do month 4 and 5 95%, and just 97.5% on the fourth, and then the fifth month. What am I saying? It'd be 90% of your max, 92.5, and then 95 for the first 3 months, and then okay. So the fourth would be 97.5 of your max, and then those numbers. So the fifth month would be just max, and then those numbers. So for example, 452 squat. I'm gonna get to that right now. 97.5 becomes the max now. Whatever that is, it's gonna be on the screen. Like right now, 95% of 452 should be, that's going to be on the screen too. And then you do your percentages based off of that number. So the 90% max number, 92, 95, 97.5, and then finally just the number. So 452, 95% would be higher than the other months. So 97.5, 531, obviously I've explained, but it goes 65, 75, 85 week 1, and then 5 reps for all, or 5 or more on the last, and then 70, 80, 90 for 3 reps on week 2, or 3 or more on 90% the last set, and then 5, 3, 1, 75, 85, 95, 1 or more on the last set, and then week 4 deload. But those are based off of the 90% of your max, not your max, and then 92.5 and then 95. So I would add a fourth month of 97.5, and then just the numbers of the real max. But don't use your belt max. Like if you're doing like beltless, sleeveless, everything like me, or even just beltless with knee sleeves, because knee sleeves don't do much without a belt. I think they have to go hand in hand. I mean, some people will do a belt no sleeves or a sleeve no belt, but if you're doing everything, let's just say like me, like super duper raw, that's what I call it, no belt, no sleeves, no wrist straps, don't use the max that you use with your belt. I haven't mentioned this, but I've been thinking about it a lot, especially for squats. Squats were pretty hard. Deadlifts are easy, and my max hook grip on a stiff bar, I don't know it, even with the belt, because I was using deadlift bar over under with a belt, obviously. So with or without a belt, I don't know my stiff bar max, and I don't know what it is hook grip or without a belt. Um, that one I used 500, and then 90% was right. Like right now it's 95, so it's 475. I know that for a fact. This month is 475. I just did in the garage right now 85%, which was 403 for 5, and it wasn't so bad. Like deadlifts are pretty easy belt list, and starting to feel barely like I feel like I have a natural belt on me. Because if you get good at belt lists, you should get so good at bracing that you feel like your waist is your belt. Obviously, the belt is to add another waist and to brace harder. But if you get good at belt lists, you do it long enough, 3 months should be enough. Because 3 months isn't really 3 months. It's more like, what? Well, it goes by weeks, so like 12 sessions. It's only 12 deadlift sessions, 12 squat, bench sessions. So it's not that much, but it should be enough in that time. You know, every rep, you should be really focusing on bracing. And obviously, people go beltless, so when they go back to belt, using the belt, it's way easier to brace. But I did that recently. I did like this year, 2022. I've done probably 5.5 months of beltless, maybe 6. I'm not exactly sure. So half of this year was beltless, so that's good. Because I wasn't really competing this year. I did Super Bowl Sunday, February 13th, but that's it. I haven't competed since then, so I'm just focusing on getting my core stronger without the belt. So what I'm saying is I'm gonna go back to the belt in wait, what? Yeah, 3 weeks, 3 weeks. But before going into it, don't use your belt maxes. That's the number one rule. Don't use the maxes you've done with the belt. Do not do it. Don't do it. It's gonna be crazy. And deadlift, I didn't. Good, thank goodness. Because 573.6 with a belt on a deadlift bar, I did 500. Should have probably done 485, but 500 is like perfect for me to get the reps, the minimum amount, and maybe more. But I don't do it. I just stop at the minimum because next month I'll go more anyway. So that's still progressive overload. Bench, I did, yeah, and bench got a little harder last month. We'll see about this month. I'm gonna bench tomorrow, so we'll see. But squat is just, I squatted earlier this week and it was what, 365 for 5. I only got 2. Here it is. And then I did a rest pause, so it's 3. Here it is. But that made me go back to, I mean, either I can lower the numbers on squat or just go back to using a belt next week. It's fine. I mean, it's not that big of a deal if I didn't go the full 531 belt. There's just no rules. I could have done a belt list with the belt and it would have been easy. So the last 2 weeks of this 3 month cycle, I don't think I'm gonna do 531 after this 3 months. I think the fourth, the 97.5, I don't think I'm going to do that. Or maybe I will, but it'll be with the belt. So that's just kind of my own 531 cycle. It's not necessarily 531. So I should be getting more reps next week. It'll be 386 squat for 3 or more. Top set. Deadlift 427, 3 or more. Bench, I don't know. It'll be on the screen. It should be like 237. It should be like 237. Maybe 240, 3 or more. Maybe more than 240. And shoulder press, like damn, that was disappointing last time you saw. So like 136. I could keep I'm gonna have a belt on. So yeah, as I say, I could keep shoulder press the same or lower the weight, but I'm gonna have a belt, so it's no problem. And wrist straps. So I'm actually looking forward to using a belt. I just deadlifted without one and it felt really good. So when you go beltless, just take the ego out of the way. Go RPE and just whatever feels good. That's the best way. I mean, some people hate RPE, so you don't have to do it. Going by feel. So if you're gonna do percentages, give yourself like, everyone's different, but to be safe, take 10% off of that max. So if it's 452, 10% off of that would be, damn, that should be 45.2 pounds. Yeah. So that would be 400. No, that's wrong. I'm not thinking right now. So 452 minus 40 would be 412, like 407-ish, 406. That's a good. I think that's actually perfect, but it depends on the person. You could take out more than that, because I would say pounds, but if I say 50 pounds, everyone's different. What if someone's max is 600 on squat? That's 550 now. 10% is better, because 10% of 600 would be 60. So that's, I mean, it's about the same. So that'd be 60. It's only what, 540? But, just do it accordingly. Just do something that you could do, and something that'll be attainable for sure. And even if you get like the prescribed amount of reps, and it's super easy, and you had more in you, whether you're doing 531 or not. I mean, most people don't even do 531. This is just like an off-season priming, getting back into, for sure, form and mechanics, because it was beltless too. So just kind of like going easy, but without doing anything. And it wasn't easy, honestly. It's just easier because it was super low volume, accessories and lifts. I've already explained, I've already showed videos. Notice your form breakdown is going to be a lot different when you're going beltless. So it might look different. For me, I mean, it's different because I'm doing hook grip, not because of the stiff bar, but hook grip and under overhand. For me, hook grip is way better form. But I think beltless in general, you have better form because you know to go a little easier, and you don't want your back to round because you're less bracing without the belt, and you're not going to go as heavy unless you're dumb like me on squats. Even though, I don't know, I think it's just the 5 reps were just getting to my head. It's like 5 reps, that's a lot on squat, not on bench and deadlift. It just was squat. Maybe that was the only one I went too heavy on. 452 was easy with the belt, but that's why you shouldn't go by old maxes, or just maxes in general. Like, now I'm a fan of RP. I wasn't before, but now just an old max from 2021 March 2021 doesn't apply now, because I was 205 eating carbs. I had a belt, and it was easier back then. That 452, I had more in me. I would say 474, but coulda, shoulda, woulda. It doesn't matter what I think. Maybe I would have tried 468 or 463 and not got it, or I wouldn't have counted maybe. But now I don't have carbs in me for the last it's been 1 month. 1 month. So 531, 1 month of that, not both months, but 1 month was keto, and I have 2 months left of keto because I'm doing 3 months on that too. So 3 months beltless, 531, and then 3 months keto, which was like a month later. So it should be harder now, even if I wasn't on keto. Just the fact that I don't have a belt and knee sleeves and wrist wraps. And honestly, the carbs, the fact that you burn fat on keto and you don't burn carbs, it's interesting. And I honestly don't feel tired. And I've been pretty physical lately outside of working out, and I don't get tired. I really don't. I just kind of drink coffee to get me going through the day, just black coffee, because I don't sleep much. Like, I sleep 3 hours, wake up right away. Like, wide awake was what I mean. Like, I'm wide awake. My eyes are open. They're not heavy. They're not all like, I'm not blinking a lot. I'm wide awake, as if I didn't sleep. But today was good. I think I slept like 4.5. I didn't even track. I still don't know how much I slept, and I was not too wide awake. So that's good. So I always sleep twice. There was a time in my life where I was doing like 3 naps a day, like Kobe Bryant did, and he got me into that because he used to do that to train more in basketball by himself, and he would train for hours, and he would just sleep less. Even if he slept 6 or 5 hours, he would break it up. If you sleep 6 continuously, you can't do anything in those 6 hours. Compared to 6 3 times, you have gaps when everyone's asleep, and the gym's all to yourself, whether it's a basketball court or weightlifting, because he would lift weights, play basketball, and do conditioning, and spread it up 3 times a day. One time he did Olympic training, and he did all that at one time, from like 2 to 10 in the morning. The trainer, it's a story, you can look it up. Kobe called the trainer, asked him if he could do strength and conditioning with him, workout. He was asleep, the trainer, but he woke up because he's on call. He did it, went home, it was like an hour. And then, Kobe was shooting, getting the shot done. And then at 11 a.m., practice started. I said 10, but I think it was 11. He's like, hey, Kobe, what time did you finish your workout? And he said, just now, because he was still shooting. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, just now. He's like, you didn't go home or sleep? He's like, no, I've been here for 8 hours. So he was there from 2 to 10. I could be off a little bit, but that's what got me into it. So I think my body's just used to it now. Even if I'm dead tired, I'm waking up at 3 hours, 3 or 4, and then I'll sleep 2. I'm good with 6. I could do 5. Like, I really don't need much to function, much sleep. That's just the way my body works. Like, I can't. Like, it's not. People say just force yourself, read a book, watch TV. Like, don't you think I've tried that? Like, workout right before you go to sleep. That's a good one. Doesn't always work. It gets me tired. But sometimes, like, I have the caffeine in me, whether it's an energy drink or coffee. It's usually like right now, I had an energy drink, and I had already slept. So the fact that I already slept, I'm wide awake, and the energy drink's keeping me up longer. So Long story short, that's the long explanation of the difference of, before and after on the maxes. So lower your maxes when you're going beltless. Just be user friendly. Just go easy. If I said 10%, do 15% less. If you go by maxes and percentages, maybe you don't. And if not, go by RPE and just start easy, because your knees are going to be cracking. They're going to be like, what the hell is this? This is way too heavy. And it's like 275, which is nothing. That's 2 reds and a collar, or 2 reds, no collar on a squat bar. Elbows may be feeling different on bench, even though we don't bench with elbow pads in powerlifting. They're not allowed. Elbow sleeves, elbow pads are allowed, but not on bench. So yeah, we don't bench with that. The elbow sleeves or pads are allowed, like the cuffs are allowed on squat and deadlift only, which is pointless to me. Well, squat, that would help, yeah. Not pointless on squat, but for me, pointless on deadlift. So like I said, the only 2 things I've really said so far is focus on going lighter on the maxes, or RPE, go easy, because your joints will thank you. And you'll truly get used to it if you try it. Because people say they don't do beltless. They probably don't think it works. I've known people that says, like, there's no point of doing beltless if you never compete beltless. If someone competes beltless, then okay, because that's their style. It's very rare to see. Very rare. Very rare to see someone compete beltless in powerlifting. Like, rare. And sleeveless and wrist wrap. Like, just nothing. That's super rare. I don't think I've ever seen that. I think I saw one guy on Instagram, but not in person. And he was pretty strong. He was skinny. He was like Keanu Reeves on Instagram. Like, he's a lookalike of Keanu Reeves, but he's like 21. So if you're like training to train, people think if you're training beltless, that means you're training to get better beltless, not with the belt. You only get better training with the belt if you use it. That's true, but your bracing gets so much better without a belt. Like, that I know. People that say it's not true don't really do it. They probably really don't train beltless, and they're just listening to someone who did. But that's not their experience. That's the other person's experience. You may notice that you're going to start bracing less with the belt because you're so used to nothing. That extra waist, you're so used to not having it. And you may not brace too hard, or you may, have a looser belt, because some people put it too tight, and I had that problem. A lot of times in my videos, you see my SBD belt, the lever was like barely closed. It was closed, it was latched on, but it didn't look like it, because sometimes I was bloated, sometimes I wasn't, sometimes it fit good, sometimes it didn't. I mean, I'm 192 now, I was 205 before, so I'm lighter now. So that belt, okay, what did I say? I said I can afford, oh my god, the SBD belt I got a size bigger, so I can afford to get fatter but not skinnier. So I was on the last hole, so I'm probably going to use the last hole, and it's not going to be much, but that's better than nothing. So I can get bloated. Worst case, I can get bloated right before a workout if it's better, because when I'm bloated before anyone, their belt is tighter on them. So you'll learn to get brace a little less, have the belt a little looser. Your joints, I don't think your joints will thank you once you have the stuff back on, because the beltless is lighter, and it's hard for your knees and elbows and back, because on deadlifts you feel it in your back just more. Like, there was one time I was deadlifting 2 weeks ago. Last week was deload. I felt it in my traps. I was saying in the video, I felt like, I never felt this in my life on deadlifts, ever. Like, even when I did beltless before, like when I was not powerlifting, I've never felt just my traps specifically. There were some other muscles like rhomboids and lats involved probably, but my traps specifically, like the whole line of the traps were just burning, stinging, but in a good way. I'd never felt that. Me, not with farmer's walks, not with shrugs, not with deadlifts. I did 2 weeks ago, and it was crazy. I don't think you could feel that with the belt. I've only felt that with the belt, but like in a straining way. Not like it hurt because my form was bad. It was just more straining, because you're probably flexing less with the belt on, because that little layer is taken away. So yeah, you really feel your muscles being worked. And my quads, man, without the knee sleeves, I would say, like I said, they would go numb. My legs would go numb. And I was probably going too heavy on squats though, but I was doing pretty good for the most part. I only missed, when I did the 5 reps last month, I only did 4 because I was in my head, because I just started keto. And then 2, I don't know what happened. I had the biggest misgroove on both reps. And then the third one was a rest pause. Still don't know what happened. I don't know. Maybe it's the 5 reps intimidating me. I would try next week 386 for 3, because I did 376 for 3 and it was good. But some days you just don't feel it. That's why I like RPE. Like, you just don't have it in you. It's not that whether you want to or not. Maybe you want it, but you can't. That's just how it is with powerlifting. People think they could pick a number and do it. People think, I've done it before, I could do it again. Or I could done it and I could do it with the same effort, like with ease, or with more ease than last time. But that's just not true at all. People always say that, but it's not true at all. So train beltless and take it easy. progressively overload slowly, or you could do beltless and use a belt, but just go easy with the beltless. Because I used to do beltless, like in 2019 after I had been coached. He had some beltless in there, my first coach ever, and then I did it. I did like beltless and then like a comp day with the belt and then a non-belt day. So I deadlifted twice, just conventional, and I used percentages that were pretty much 2.5 less percent less than with the belt. Horrible. Every single rep was the grindiest grind of all time. And it was a horrible. I should have never done that. Didn't hurt my back, but it was just shaking from the floor, and I was slow off the floor back then. I used to be really slow in 2019 with the deadlift bar. I think it took me a while to get used to the deadlift bar, probably 6 months. I would be slow off the floor, like slow. And now I'm not. I know I'm not anymore. Even with the stiff bar and hook grip, like that's how you know it's. I just got good at doing the hit, like pulling the slack and then going. I didn't know what slack pull was before. You could see the slack pull like go up on the deadlift bar before the weight was even off the floor. And my first rep was always like looked hard. It was probably not that hard, and every rep got easier. I'm still like that, but just faster off the floor. So it looks good to be faster off the floor compared to before. Like it feels good knowing that I am. I don't really notice the difference that much, but I see the video and I know it's like, okay, the weight comes off instantly. Brain over brawn. Don't be brawn over brain. You can have all the brain in the world and no brawn, and you can teach someone a lot, like in powerlifting or just stuff that has to do with strength. But if you have all the brawn in the world and no brain, you can't really teach much. You could just have genetics, or you could just lift a tree trunk 10 times a day or 100 times a day, and it doesn't mean or you just bench every single day and that's all you do. You could have the muscle and the strength. Doesn't mean you have the brain. Brain over brawn. People don't think it probably. I would say so because powerlifters have coaches, most of them. So they use someone's brain for their brawn. Don't overdo it. Just notice your joints, go easy. Like use some cream on your knees and elbows and everything. Do some ice baths. People say those don't work anymore. It's proven that they don't work anymore. But honestly, even if it's temporary relief, use it. Like I like ice baths. My foot gets swollen a lot, and I just put my foot in a bucket of ice, and I feel it because, yeah, my foot gets swollen. So I've sprained it a few times and tweaked it a few times, and the left one's fine. It's the right one, and it helps. It works. To me, it works wonders. Maybe not to the people that just believe that it doesn't work anymore. Just believe any study, or just believe what someone told them, but some kind of therapy, some kind of physical therapy. People say that doesn't work either. People say cuffing doesn't work. People say a lot of things. I've heard part of it, that doesn't work. Have you even tried it? And so I was like, I hear, someone told me, whatever, just recover. That's all that matters. Recover, get a massage, a salt bath, a hot salt bath, like an ice bath, the massage guns, whatever. Just stretch. People say that doesn't work either. But stretch before and after, or just before. I haven't been stretching after in a long time, but before, dynamically, hip stuff, because hip's important in powerlifting, and your glutes and all that. Whatever you're gonna work on, rotator cuff stuff, I think that is important. People can disagree with me, but the rotator cuff, hip mobility, ankle mobility, like warming up before, it is important, no matter how you do it. People say static, I don't agree. I say dynamic, or like a kind of a mix of both, but no holding for 30 seconds and no more than 2 seconds for me. I've posted, I don't even know if I've posted it, but I've never really done like a stretching video, which I should. Gonna do that. Not next, but I'm gonna do it, and then static after. To me, that's the best way, and people agree with me, but people disagree with me too, so it doesn't really matter what I say. Just recover and rest your own way, because your body's gonna need it, and don't go too high volume. If it is, go easy. Like I mentioned, and if you're going to start going heavy, just go easy with heavy weight and low reps. Like if it's a set of 3 or 1 or 2, whatever, just make sure you can get it. Because if you push it, it's just going to get discouraged. It can be really discouraging. It wasn't for me, but it can be for other people. They just go straight back to the belt. Don't quit. Just stick through with it. Stick through with the beltless if you're going to do just beltless. Or if you're going to do a beltless day and a comp day with the belt. But just try it out if you want. I think you should, and just keep the things in mind that I've stated. That's it for the video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.